Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, where we read you your favorite classics one bite at a time. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. You can sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. You'll also find our new t-shirts in the shop, including podcast shirts and quote shirts from your favorite classic novels. Be sure to follow my show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear what inspired your favorite classic author to write their novels, and what was going on in the world at the time, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Today we'll be continuing Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Chapter 15, Gavroche Outside. Courfeyrac suddenly caught sight of someone at the base of the barricade, outside in the street, amid the bullets. Gavroche had taken a bottle basket from the wine shop, had made his way out through the cut, and was quietly engaged in emptying the full cartridge boxes of the National Guardsmen who had been killed on the slope of the redoubt into his basket. "What are you doing here?" asked Courfeyrac. Gavroche raised his face. "I'm filling my basket, citizen. Don't you see the grape shot?" Gavroche replied, "Well, it is raining. What then?" Courfeyrac shouted, "Come in!" "Instanter," said Gavroche. And with a single bound, he plunged into the street. It will be remembered that Fannicot's company had left behind it a trail of bodies. 20 corpses lay scattered here and there on the pavement, through the whole length of the street. 20 cartouches for Gavroche meant a provision of cartridges for the barricade. The smoke in the street was like a fog. Whoever has beheld a cloud which has fallen into a mountain gorge between two peaked escarpments can imagine this smoke rendered denser and thicker by two gloomy rows of lofty houses. It rose gradually and was incessantly renewed. Hence a twilight which made even the broad daylight turn pale. The combatants could hardly see each other from one end of the street to the other, short as it was. This obscurity, which had probably been desired and calculated on by the commanders who were to direct the assault on the barricade, was useful to Gavroche. Beneath the folds of this veil of smoke, and thanks to his small size, he could advance tolerably far into the street without being seen. He rifled the first 7 or 8 cartridge boxes without much danger. He crawled flat on his belly, galloped on all fours, took his basket in his teeth, twisted, glided, undulated, wound from one dead body to another, and emptied the cartridge box of cartouche as a monkey opens a nut. They did not dare to shout to him to return from the barricade, which was quite near for fear of attracting attention to him. On one body, that of a corporal, he found a powder flask. "For thirst," said he, putting it in his pocket. By dint of advancing, he reached a point where the fog of the fusillade became transparent, so that the sharpshooters of the line ranged on the outlook behind their paving stone dike, and the sharpshooters of the banlieue, massed at the corner of the street, suddenly pointed out to each other, something moving through the smoke. At the moment when Gavroche was relieving a sergeant who was lying near a stone doorpost of his cartridges, a bullet struck the body. "Fichtre!" ejaculated Gavroche. "They are killing my dead men for me." A second bullet struck a spark from the pavement beside him. A third overturned his basket. Gavroche looked and saw that this came from the men of the banlieue. He sprang to his feet, stood erect with his hair flying in the wind, his hands on his hips, his eyes fixed on the National Guardsmen who were firing, and sang, "Insiste les Nanterre, c'est la faute à Voltaire, et bête à Palaiseau, c'est la faute de Rousseau. Men are ugly at Nanterre, 'tis the fault of Voltaire, and dull at Palaiseau, 'tis the fault of Rousseau." Then he picked up his basket, replaced the cartridges which had fallen from it, without missing a single one, and advancing towards the fusillade, set about plundering another cartridge box. There a fourth bullet missed him again. Gavroche sang, "Je ne suis pas notaire, c'est la faute à Voltaire. Je suis un petit oiseau, c'est la faute à Rousseau." I am not a notary, 'tis the fault of Voltaire. I'm a little bird, 'tis the fault of Rousseau. A fifth bullet only succeeded in drawing from him a third couplet. "Joyeux mon caractère, c'est la faute à Voltaire. Misère est mon trousseau, c'est la faute à Rousseau." My joy is my character, 'tis the fault of Voltaire. Misery is my trousseau, 'tis the fault of Rousseau. Thus it went on for some time. It was a charming and terrible sight. Gavroche, though shot at, was teasing the fusillade. He had the air of being greatly diverted. It was the sparrow pecking at the sportsman. To each discharge, he retorted with a couplet. They aimed at him constantly and always missed him. The National Guardsmen and the soldiers laughed as they took aim at him. He lay down, sprang to his feet, hid in the corner of a doorway, then made a bound, disappeared, reappeared, scampered away, returned, replied to the grape shot with his thumb at his nose, and all the while went on pillaging the cartouches, emptying the cartridge boxes, and filling his basket. The insurgents, panting with anxiety, followed him with their eyes. The barricade trembled. He sang. He was not a child. He was not a man. He was a strange gammon fairy. He might have been called the invulnerable dwarf of the fray. The bullets flew after him. He was more nimble than they. He played a fearful game of hide-and-seek with death. Every time that the flat-nosed face of the spectre approached, the urchin administered to a fillip. One bullet, however, better aimed or more treacherous than the rest, finally struck the will-o'-the-wisp of a child. Gavroche was seen to stagger. Then he sank to the earth. The whole barricade gave vent to a cry. But there was something of the Antaeus in that pygmy. For the gamin to touch the pavement is the same as for the giant to touch the earth. Gavroche had fallen only to rise again. He remained in a sitting posture. A long thread of blood streaked his face. He raised both arms in the air, glanced in the direction whence the shot had come, and began to sing. Jésus tombe par terre, c'est la faute de Voltaire. L'Inès dans les Rousseaux, c'est la faute à... I have fallen to the earth. 'Tis the fault of Voltaire. With my nose in the gutter, 'tis the fault of... He did not finish. A second bullet from the same marksman stopped him short. This time, he fell face downward on the pavement and moved no more. This grand little soul had taken its flight. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you come back tomorrow for the next bite of Les Miserables. Don't forget, you can sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. And while you're there, check out our t-shirt shop. You can look in the show notes or on our website, biteatatimebooks.com, for the rest of the links for our show. We'd love to hear from you on social media. You can find us everywhere at Bite at a Time Books.